In this video, we will be looking at the basics of effective paragraph writing, specifically paragraph unity and coherence. Quality paragraphs have the following characteristics. They're unified, they're well-developed, and they're coherent. If a paragraph is unified, it means that every sentence in the body paragraph relates directly back to the main idea presented by the topic sentence. In other words, you don't want to be a drifter, which means that you start with a solid topic sentence, but as the paragraph progresses, you get farther and far away from that topic. It's also important to remember not to introduce new ideas in the concluding sentence. Let's look at a problem paragraph. See if you can determine at what point the paragraph begins to drift. I've always been a very messy person. As a child, I was a pack rat, saving every little piece of insignificant paper that I thought might be important when I grew up. As a teenager, I filled my pockets with remnants of basketball tickets, hall passes, gum wrappers, and other important articles from my high school education. As a college student, I became a boxer. Not a fighter, but someone who cannot throw anything away, and therefore it winds up in a box in my closet. But my engagement has changed everything. I'm really pleased with the new stage of my life, and I owe it all to my fiancé. My overall outlook on life has changed because of his influence on me. I'm neater, much more cheerful, and I'm even getting places on time like I never did before. It's truly amazing what love can do. Hopefully you noticed where this paragraph began to drift. The topic was on the fact that the author had always been a very messy child. So every sentence in the paragraph needs to connect back to that in some way. So we're looking for the first sentence that does not relate to that at all. And it starts here with the, I'm really pleased with the new stage of my life. The author here mentions several things that have nothing to do with improving her messy lifestyle. In fact, the only concession that she offers for her topic sentence is the quick little I'm neater. So in other words, watch out for this because it's easy to drift in your paragraphs, but this hopefully can be cleaned up in the revision process. Another important characteristic of an effective paragraph is development. Paragraph development means that you have elaborated on the idea in the topic sentence. First, you need to provide enough information in the paragraph to fully support your topic sentence. For this, there are several methods of development that you can use. Strategies used to elaborate on the ideas stated in the topic sentence are exemplification, meaning using examples, facts, statistics, etc. Description, using word pictures, people, places, things, etc. Narration, using stories or short anecdotes. Definitions, further explanation of the topic or ideas central to the topic so that the reader has a full understanding. And analogies, comparisons used to illustrate or explain or prove a point. Now, there are many other methods of development besides these, but these will get you started. So let's look at this paragraph and think about how it could be further developed. Driving tests do not adequately examine a person's driving ability. Usually the person being tested does not have to drive very far. The test does not require the skills that are used in everyday driving situations. Supervisors of driving tests tend to be very lenient. So basically, this little mini paragraph just gives a series of general statements, and it doesn't follow up with any specific examples, anecdotes, personal experiences, etc. So let's see how we could develop this paragraph further. Driving tests do not adequately examine a person's driving ability. First, the person tested does not have to drive very far. For example, my own test was completed within a 2-block radius. In order to truly test one's ability, the test should require driving at least a few miles on a busy street. In addition, the test does not require the skills used in everyday driving situations. How often does one actually do a turnabout? Finally, supervisors of driving tests tend to be very lenient. In fact, at the end of my own driver's test, the supervisor said, "I really shouldn't pass you, but I am." How's that for quality control? So as you can see in this paragraph, I further developed it by giving some personal experiences and also asking some follow-up questions that mention specific elements of the driver's test. So when you're developing your paragraphs, you want to avoid vague generalities that you do not support with evidence. Let's look at this paragraph. Nursing homes are often sad places. They are frequently located in ugly old buildings unfit for anyone. The people there are lonely and bored. What's more, they're sometimes treated badly by the people who run the homes. It's a shame something better can't be done for the elderly. So let's look at some problems in this paragraph with vagueness. So first, they've given general statements but not followed up with any specific evidence, using those methods of development that we talked about just a moment ago. It's also a good idea to avoid vague terms such as ugly, bad, sad. Those terms are subjective, and you need to instead follow up with some very specific things. And also, it's just a good idea to expand your vocabulary and use some more specific adjectives. Avoid indefinite pronouns. That's just a good rule in general. Indefinite pronouns don't have a clear antecedent, and they're very vague. So words like anyone, anything, something, everyone, work on getting rid of those. And look for wordy phrases that could be reduced to one word. One example is, what's more, they're sometimes treated badly by the people who run the homes. That's it. Who run the homes is a wordy phrase. Well, who runs these homes? They're directors, nursing assistants. I mean, you have to clarify there who you're talking about. Another problem that can happen with paragraph development is that a student writer repeats the same idea over and over again, but disguises it in different phrasing. But essentially, they're not saying anything new. Let's look at this example. Mr. Clark was the best teacher at my school. He had this way of making every student feel as if he or she was his top priority. I never felt like he didn't care about me. While other teachers seemed to be too busy for their students, Mr. Clark always made time for each of us. He also worked harder than any teacher in the building. He was a really diligent teacher. Lastly, Mr. Clark never let his personal problems interfere with his work in the classroom. He always kept focus on his job while at school. So let's look at these series of general statements that are made about Mr. Clark and see if they're followed up with more specific examples. So we have the topic sentence, Mr. Clark was the best teacher at my school. And then we have the first point, or the first piece of evidence that shows that he's the best teacher. He had this way of making every student feel as if he or she was his top priority. So I'm thinking the next sentence would be a specific example of a time when this was the case. Perhaps a personal experience or something that I observed while in school. Instead, this writer has followed up with a sentence that says basically the same thing, and then another sentence that says basically the same thing. Finally, the writer gets to the second point. He also worked harder than any teacher in the building. But instead of giving specific examples, this writer makes another general statement. He was a really diligent teacher. Lastly, we get a third point. Mr. Clark has never let his personal problems interfere with his work in the classroom. Again, I'm expecting some specific evidence from that, but instead it's just followed up with this very general statement. So there are no specific details in this paragraph. So this is kind of a rule that, I haven't ever seen written anywhere, but just what I think is good to follow as a writer is to never make two general statements in a row. If you make a general statement, always follow it up with specific evidence. If you can remember that, then your writing is going to greatly improve. Another couple of things to remember in terms of paragraph development are, one, to make your paragraph long enough to fully support your topic sentence, but short enough to stay interesting. And if you follow the guidelines in the first 3 bullets, then you should be able to do that perfectly. The last bullet says, when writing about a complicated subject, you may divide one paragraph into 2. So there's some topics that it's just too complex to fit into one paragraph. But if you break it into 2, make sure to transition between the paragraphs by restating the topic. So the reader needs to know that the second paragraph is still discussing what you were discussing in the first paragraph. The last characteristic of an effective paragraph is coherence. Paragraph coherence means that all sentences and ideas flow together to make a clear, logical point. So each sentence should connect to the previous sentence in a clear way. Coherence is achieved through the following: careful use of transitional words and phrases, both at the beginning of sentences and embedded within sentences, repetition of keywords or synonyms, and it's also established by organizational patterns. To exit out here to get to that bullet point. There are two main organizational patterns, and in the next video, I'm going to cover several more organizational patterns. But the two main ones are deductive order and inductive order. So with deductive order, the writer moves from a generalization to a specific detail that explains or supports the general statement. All of the paragraph examples that I just went over use deductive order. Let's look at another example. Working part-time as a cashier at the Piggly Wiggly has given me a great opportunity to observe human behavior. Sometimes I think of the shoppers as white rats in a lab experiment, and the aisles as a maze designed by a psychologist. Most of the rats, customers I mean, follow a routine pattern, strolling up and down the aisles, checking through my chute, and then escaping through the exit hatch. But not everyone is so dependable. My research has revealed 3 distinct types of abnormal customer: the amnesiac, the super shopper, and the dawdler. So this is like an introductory paragraph, but it still follows a deductive order. We have this topic sentence that's broad enough to then give some examples. So general statement to begin and followed up with specific examples that support that general statement made in the topic sentence. Every once in a while, you will see a paragraph that's written in inductive order. It's not as common, but you will see it sometimes. And this is where the writer begins with a series of specific details that point to a larger point of generalization that they make at the end of the paragraph. Let's look at this example. Often parents create a disturbing scene when they lose control and shout curses or insults at an umpire or referee in a game where their child is participating. Adults may also argue bitterly with each other in the bleachers about whose child should have rebounded the ball or prevented the opposing team from scoring. Parents even openly heckle coaches, yelling bad names or angry criticism in front of the whole team. Perhaps the most troubling spectacle of all, however, is an enraged father or mother pulling a child off the field or outside the gym for a humiliating lecture about a missed opportunity or a failure to perform. Instead of serving as a source of joy and learning for the children who participate, children's sports events often become an outlet for nasty, interfering parents. So you can see we've got several specific behaviors that characterize nasty, interfering parents, but we don't get to that general statement, kind of like the main idea of the paragraph, the topic sentence, until the very last sentence. So you will find inductive paragraphs every once in a while. A lot of times they're good for an introduction, right? Because this grabs your attention and then you can get down to your thesis statement, because topic sentences are basically like a little mini thesis for your paragraph. In the next video, we're going to look at some more specific organizational patterns and methods of development. But for now, having a good knowledge of deductive order, moving from general to specific, is a great place to get started.